Hey, Sister Kate here. Shalom. I see some people are in the chat. Go ahead and say hello. Let's see who's here. It's C103 and JC Fixer and Palmetto Paratrooper. Shalom. And the Lamb Keeper's Journey. Shalom. Shalom all. Travis Bolt. Ma Nishma Ya. Thank you for supporting the channel, Travis. And Nancy C. Shalom, my sister. How did you fare in this latest weather? We were just reading about how your area may have gotten a whole lot of rain. Oh, Ma Nishma y'all. That's what you're saying. All right. Can everybody see me and hear me okay? If you can, like give a thumbs up or tell me a 5x5 or whatever. Bless the rain. Spent some time at the creek yesterday. I bet you did. What up is what is said. What's up is what I said. What's up? Nishmaya. 5-5. Excellent. Yeah, I love it. I'm never going to turn down rain. Never going to say, oh, it's too much or whatever. I'm literally seeing like little cucumbers become big enough to eat overnight. So I'm all about it. Keep going in and out of focus, but I can hear you just fine. I have to remember to hold still. If I rock back and forth, my camera can't, can't track me. And that's why I get in and out of focus. Can't really lean back in the chair either. So I do have a video. It's uploading right now. And it's my impression of the 13th and my observations. So I'm not going to go into too much of that. Here's Sawson. Shalom. Many platforms have been grainy lately, said JC Fixer. I'm sure part of it is the area. We have, as you can tell, it's not very sunny right now. We have a lot of cloud cover. But I definitely wanted to hear y'all's opinion about the 13th and the videos and the fact that a presidential, hey, Johnny John, a presidential candidate was shot at. Norm is on the chat. Welcome, Norm. It's got to be close to what, 9 o'clock your time? And as a Scotsman, what do you think about our election and the fact someone shot at our presidential candidate? And there's Tim Pack. Shalom. And there's NWA Prepper. Howdy. $2,200. Ask Joe. I'm not asking Joe. I'm asking you, Norm. You can tell us what you think. Shooting is hard to put a finger on right now, but many fishy things, says Travis Bolt. Any of y'all think anything's fishy? I'd love to hear your opinion. They're mad that the empire is destroying itself. Interesting. Come on now, I know y'all have opinions. I know you've been talking to other people. OPSEC. I will say I was online. Susan, hey. I was online at the time that the news broke. I forget what I was doing. I was probably on Instagram. And it wasn't but maybe a few minutes later that the first, I think I went to NBC, the first videos, because you knew, I mean, people were recording it, of course. Oh, that's an open invitation to all the conspiracies out there. How long you got? I'm giving myself an hour, and I'm hoping my battery will last that long. And so I'm ready to hear. I'm ready to hear any conspiracy theories you have. Tim Pack thinks it all stinks. I do remember thinking when the news broke and I saw the video very first of all that for sure the shooter had to be to Trump's right. Had to be. There's no way. Just from his reaction and the way the shot came and him turning his head and everything, the shooter had to be on the right. And so I totally expected everyone to be looking that way. And, you know, those guys with the rifles running around with they were wearing some kind of tactical gear. They weren't that special service guys. They were probably on a sniper team or a SWAT team, and they're just running around looking all the directions. It's like, dudes, it's pretty obvious. It was from the right. Things were set up and it failed to work as planned. I definitely think the intent was to wound the Donald Trump. I definitely think the intent was for that shot to hit him square in the middle of his head and for that to be on TV, which would be quite a horrifying show. Lampkeeper says, yeah, they dropped the ball big time. How about that mall cop lady? I gotta say, as a female, but I've never worked in law enforcement, so I can't, you know, I can't say back when I was a beat cop, I used to whatever. But yeah, she was pretty unimpressive. I will agree with anyone who says that about her. She could not even find her holster to put her firearm away, and then she didn't seem to know what she was going to do with her firearm. Like, it was pretty pathetic. Okay, so let me get back. I cannot confirm or deny that it was set up or an acting stunt, but definitely possible, says Travis Bolt. Okay. I'm fine, John. But I'm just saying, staying busy with things I can control, right? And right now, I am knee deep in summer season. I can tell you all, I probably have said it on videos or whatever, that all of my health tests came back normal. And so I've got one more in the near future that I have to set up. But right now, like, I'm not nearly as concerned about my summer getting off course by having to go do a surgery or something like that. Like right now, it seems like possibly just a medication may take care of my issues. So that we got rid of a lot of animals this summer in anticipation of me needing a month and a half of recovery, and that's okay. I still have all my skill and all my equipment. If we want to get, you know, the homestead up and rolling again with more animals, we can easily do that later. But as the summer rolls along, we're just as busy as ever. So it's all good there. Praise Yah. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see what Palmetto said. The more time passes, the less I'm concerned about the government sending people to put me on a cattle car if this is the quality of people they send. Oh, that's funny. They want us to get big mad at each other. I believe that's true. The Patsy did not fire the real shots. Fishy, but I'm just staying busy with things I can control. The Patsy did not fire the real shots. Okay, I can address that one. I could believe he was a patsy. I could believe at the age he was and how much life experience he didn't have, he was just told to get up on that roof, and certainly shots could have been fired from around him, near him, behind him, wood lines, trees, all sorts of things, because with the lack of attention to that direction, and the lack of, there should have been a sniper on that roof instead of that guy on that roof. I would listen to ballistics arguments that there were other rounds, or the rounds came from somewhere else, or any of those things. I think that's certainly a possibility. The only, well, I'm not going to give away my video because it's going to be up, and I'd really like y'all to watch it. Let's just say even the person who did fire the real shots kind of didn't do great, in my opinion. Grandma Ginger's Farm, may y'all bless. Thank you. I believe he has. I'm ignorant of what a patsy is. It's a person who is going to take the fall for a thing without have actually done the thing. It's usually kind of a setup. There is no way to a nerd to get where he was in the manner he did, said JC Fixer. Now keep in mind, he was outside of the rally grounds. He did not go through any security checks, or he was not within the boundaries of, the park or whatever, wherever that rally was being held. He was outside a chain link fence. All right, let me try to hold myself still. I do know that it has made me step up my canning, and I've added a new class to take to help me get better. Without some type of assistance, as JC Fixer. We could have just parked somewhere and clambered up there, but, arguable. I could have made that shot drunk, said Palmetto Paratrooper. Lady Smith said, Patsy gets around. MS, pick one, English or Spanish? Okay, we may be getting some trolls in here, y'all. Got it, thanks, SK. And how about the fact that local police saw the guy eye to eye when he climbed up to see was on that roof, like 30 minutes before, right? And that one right there makes no sense to me, if that's true. And I do think I've seen video of that. If he said, I just have binoculars with me, facing deadly threat is really not easy. And so that cop could have just felt like, I don't want to encounter a sniper up here. If this is a young kid saying he's got binoculars, I'd rather believe that and climb back down than have to fight with this guy up on this roof. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying people are human. And so that cop just could have been like, I don't want to deal today. Saw a comment where the shooters were taught by stormtroopers at Sniper Academy. And that, it's a laugh. Oh, ha ha ha, because they were so bad. Dang, autocorrect messed up my comment. He was let into the secure area with a rangefinder in his hand. I don't think that was a secure area. That was outside, across a chain link fence. But as far as Secret Service, that should have been considered a threat area, for sure, Norm, for sure. And they should have been questioning him. Had a picture of him with a rangefinder beforehand. Yeah, come on. That should have been a clue. Shalom Aleichem, the warrior rabbi. So we're just getting opinions about the events of the 13th warrior rabbi. If you have any, please voice them. We can discuss conspiracy theories, whatever your point of view there is. I'd love to hear it. I have a video. It's uploading right now. It has my opinions, but I don't want to give it away. I was hoping to have the video up before the live stream, but it took longer to upload than I thought. And I sure hope you guys will watch it. But yeah, the perimeter should have been bigger, right? And normally it is. Like, so Secret Service sometimes with a presidential visit has to secure a whole city. So it's inexcusable that this area was not secured. Yes, earlier he was in the secure area. And there's Andrew Stoller. Shalom. And there's Saw. And Jeff Tubb. Saw, we're talking about the events of the 13th of July. If you have any opinion at all, I know you're a learned man. I'd love to hear it. I do have a video coming with my opinions. It's not uploaded yet. But I wanted to do a live because I really do want to hear what my followers, commenters, subscribers, supporters have to say. I'm sure we won't know the truth or close to the truth for many years. Journey of John. Shalom, SK. Shalom. Welcome, JOJ. I'm sure there will be more facts coming out because certain things surrounding a shooting do take time. DNA analysis, ballistic analysis, getting that firearm secured and then firing some rounds out of it to see what the actual bullet does when it impacts something, and is it the same as whatever. I don't even think they'll have a bullet to maybe from the dead guy. If the actual bullet lodged in the dead guy, they might be able to match that up with something. But like, there's stuff that's going to not be able to instantly come out. All right, so let's go back. It should have been confiscated and he should have been removed from the area for a chat. Exactly. They can do that. They may not have arrested him, but they can certainly detain him or question him. All right, let's see what else we got. Government employees and incompetency increasingly go hand by hand. And it's because the bureaucracy just gets bigger and bigger and it's so ineffective. The incarceration is extremely fishy. That young man certainly had help, said Andrew Stoller, which someone else did also say earlier. He couldn't have gotten up on that roof in position by himself. And I think implication is people are saying the police must have been complicit, or even the Secret Service. I pretty much agree with PJ's Patreon vid. Well, and PJ has a lot more experience and a lot more knowledge about the Secret Service and military operations and all that. So his analysis is going to be very accurate as far as the performance going on. Some things are very convenient timing, from the shirt worn to current policies. The gap at less than 150 yards, line of sight, is unacceptable and inexcusable, right? Yeah. Yes, there are some things that are just like, what the heck? I get to hear local news secondhand from my mother. The spin they put on things is unreal. They made it sound like they couldn't get the shooter before he fired the shot. You can't shoot a person if they haven't fired a shot yet, unless you have, reasonable expectation that they are going to shoot. In some states, it's got to be 3 things before you can actually use deadly force. They have to be close enough, they have to be armed, and they have to have said, I'm going to kill you or whatever. They have to have verbally said they're going to carry through a deadly force action. And so legally, you can't just shoot someone because you think they're going to do something. Now, arguably, if you have a scope and you're staring at him and you can tell he's got a firearm and he's got it aimed at the president, you've got a much more plausible reason to say, yeah, I shot that guy. But you certainly could have detained him You know, if you're a policeman or a social secret service guy, you certainly could have climbed up on that roof and grabbed him and said, "What the heck are you doing up here? Come down here. We need to have a little discussion." Oftentimes, incompetence is used as an excuse after the fact to hide that the ball was dropped intentionally. Thumbs up. Hi, I'm driving and listening, says, hang on, Westhold Forge. And Westhold Forge is a moderator. Is that the same when on former or current presidential detail? What did Palmetto say? Oh, oftentimes incompetent if the ball was dropped intentionally. Unless you have diplomatic immunity and you are in the right place at the right time. Shalom, says Lone Star Living. Welcome to the live stream, Lone Star, who is also a moderator, and Palmetto Paratroopers, also a moderator. Even in football, the quarterback is nice to the offensive lineman, or they'll just let a linebacker through. Cannot detain the man from 130 yards. Correct, Norm. They would have had to gone there and grabbed him and talked to him. And if that police officer really was there a half hour early, that would have been his job. He should have gone up there and grabbed him and said, "Well, come down here, young man. Let's check your pockets," or whatever. But he didn't. So was he told to let him go, or was he too scared? Because sometimes, you know, local cops are not willing to get into situations like that. Look at the cop down in Florida where they have school shooting, and he and his guy waited outside where all those students got shot. Sometimes they're scared. Sometimes you don't piss off Doc in the military, right? Because Doc's the one who's going to take care of you. You want him happy with you. All right. Okay, anything else y'all want to say about that in particular? Like, I felt like you can say, you know, whether it was luck or timing or whatever, but I feel like Donald Trump saved his own life with his head turn. I do. And you can say the Lord did it. I know there's a lot of people who do say the Lord did it, but as a believer in our Lord and also his word, I don't know that he would care to intervene in Donald Trump's particular circumstance, because I'm not convinced Donald Trump is a believer. Having said that, absolutely the Lord could, but I feel like it was just luck that he turned his head when he did. If you guys don't have anything more to say about that, we'll move on to the slope. I think more info will come out over the next week. After that will be speculation. I agree 100%. And I think the speculation is more dangerous than the facts will actually be. And I certainly hope the facts do come out, because you get so much speculation by people who don't know what they're talking about, who've never been to a range, don't know how firearms work, don't understand the distances, don't understand the firing. Because if you've done any shooting at all, you know your bullets don't magically just go where you want them to go. You have to spend time and effort in learning the correct way to shoot in order to make your rounds go where you want them to go. Oh, heck yeah, Saw. Absolutely. Yeah, every single time something like this happens, well, not every single time, because some people in the political sphere are not important enough for the political wings to bother to try to get any legislation passed. there had been political shootings in the US where nobody cared enough about that person, like all those Clinton followers who suicided themselves. Nobody used them as justification for getting rid of firearms. But absolutely. Numa Chan, Shalom SK, happy to catch your live stream. Thank you. We'll probably never get the entire truth. And some OPSEC, the Fed Gov or the Secret Service or whatever could decide they're not going to release certain facts because they don't want to fuel a fire. Really curious about your thoughts on the Secret Service response. To my novice eyes, it looked completely confused. Shalom. We've seen these acts before. J.D. Vance is sketchy too. Well, shooter was wearing the biggest gun tuber shirt. A 20-year-old man can be wearing a shirt and think firearms are very, very important and powerful and decide that's a way to get attention on himself and whatever. I mean, young men can do that. He could have been that gun tuber supporter. He could have been watching those videos and been influenced. But I don't know enough about it to give a great opinion on it. Considering that bullet for Vance past year plus begs consideration. So I think PJ was doing research on him, and maybe I'm wrong, but he is a former Green Beret? Question mark, maybe one of you guys knows. But his politics were kind of weird. Like when he decided to get into the political world, he was a contributor to CNN for a little while and definitely did not like Trump in the past. So I think there are some interesting things to look into there about him. It's also a patriotic looking shirt, so it was good camouflage. He blended into the crowd. That's interesting. Okay, and somebody said the Secret Service response. I know my husband did a really good breakdown on his Patreon channel about that. It did seem to take them by surprise. Now, you can argue that they were told, yeah, it's going to happen, and you're just going to wait a few seconds. It's also possible that they were actually surprised and shocked, which I find that seems unlikely, given that they knew a guy was on that roof. I think Trump's reaction to being shot, just dropping down immediately, was the smartest thing I saw on that stage. And then it seemed to me that a couple of the Secret Service men did gather around him, did try to shield him, did try to cover him. I felt like some of the guys up there were just stumbling around, looking not sure where the shooter came from. And those, I don't know who they were, but they were wearing Secret Service outfits, had long guns and like the tactical gear on, and they're just walking around the stage looking. They seemed to me not to really know what they were supposed to be doing, and I was not impressed. Let's see. The narrative is, yes, Uncle Rex, even Hickok warned us about that. Shalom. The narrative is IoT shut down gun channels currently. Well, that would be a very convenient way to get pro-gun talk shut down, wouldn't it? Not long ago, he had severe TDS. More than meets the eye here. Pardon my cynicism, it aligns in timing of the attempt. And there's Patty Sanchez. Shalom, y'all. All right, so you guys can keep talking about the actual shooting if you want. I do want to move on to the slope, the comment about the slope. And my reaction to that was, that right there is ridiculous. I am over 60 years old and I can climb a greater than 5% slope. So there's no reason at all for the Secret Service head or whoever was in charge of that operation to say it was too steep for the agents to climb up. That's just ridiculous. There's Mrs. Cluck Cluck. Afternoon all, taking a break from pulling weeds in the hothouse. Pulling weeds today was definitely, I did that just because when the ground is wet, stuff pulls out easier. Cluck Cluck, you saw Bears live right after the event too, didn't you? You were online on Patreon that night? Apparently roofing is a more dangerous job than the Secret Service. I feel a need for a change for subject, SK. I mean, even if you're wearing a suit and you have like those professional shoes that those guys wear, I forget what they're called, but they're, you know, they're made to run around in. They're not like really stiff leather boots or anything. I mean, even if you don't have a ladder with you, one Secret Service guy can like do the thing where you cup your hands and the other guy can put his foot on and you can push him up. You know, you're not going to slide off that roof. I couldn't get outside today. My sinuses are running wild. You need some Zyrtec, my friend. Mine were running wild, a little wet. Hadn't heard about the slope excuse. Low standards, apparently. I mean, come on now. Come on now. Right? That was in the news. That's one of the headlines that I saw this morning. More than one channel saying that the head of the Secret Service, who was a woman, said she didn't send her agents up on that roof because that slope was too much. And then when you look at the TikTok video of the slope of that roof, it's like a 5% to 10% slope. Well, shoot, getting up my driveway is like a 45-degree slope, and we walked that many times over the 12 years we've been here. So like, get out of here with that. And I'm gonna make a sexist, well, not really sexist, but like, come on, lady. Do you not walk upstairs on a regular basis that are more sloped than 5%? Your government building has stairs that are more acute of an angle than that. Who places a woman on a detail like that? Well, supposedly the head of the Secret Service is a woman, so probably she does. We used to hang out on the rooftops as kids. That's a straight up lie, says Mary. On loose gravel, says C103. That's right. Loose gravel will let you fall. Oh, heck yeah. You start walking up this gravel when it's dry, you will end up falling down. I actually, golly, the flies and the mosquitoes are getting bad here. This is not imaginary. I just don't wave my hands for no reason at all. I actually slid on the loose gravel here on level and cut my knee. Needed stitches, but instead I put some blue spray on it and it healed up. But yeah, for sure, like stairs are steeper than 5%. Just dropping in. Storms were crazy up here this morning. We're supposed to get rain for a couple more days. I just haven't looked at the radar. That's normally how I figure out if it's going to be serious or not, is I go to the Doppler radar and look at the actual clouds moving in, and you can kind of tell if you're going to get a whammy or not. Hey, Sister Kate, just dropped in to say shalom, says Cassie, wife from Narrowgate Homestead. Lady, did you get flooded? Did you get a whole bunch of rain recently? Gravel can mess you up. That's right. All right, so having thrown out the slope concept, we can move on to the BS concept. We're getting rain right now, should last till tomorrow afternoon. You probably need that though, don't you, Lone Star? You guys could stand to have some rain, or are you close to Houston and already been flooded? 6:30 looked like amateurs. He got himself everything. He got down himself. Everything was in slow motion. That's right. He jumped down. Yes, maybe, but not as bad as Mountain View. Okay, well, good. Yeah, Trump got himself down, which was the most important thing for him to do. Once he realized he was wounded, he was smart not to stand up there because he's just a target while he's standing there. And he's a pretty big one. That's another point I don't know people have made yet about this whole episode is he's like 6'2" or something, and he's a couple of 100 pounds, so he's a pretty big target. And he's really lucky that he only got clipped in the ear, quite frankly. Fluster Cluck Farm, Shalom, sis. Opposite side of Texas, almost Oklahoma and Arkansas, but we've gotten about 35 inches so far, had a very wet spring. So you're probably happy you got rain, which is really cool. It's made a huge difference in the growth of plants in our area. Yeah, it's dry the past month or so. Yeah, after we had, and I don't want to get off the subject unless you guys are tired of talking about it, because I do want to get into the BS. We kind of already did. But I do have PTSD from when we had a drought here. Like, life got really hard when it was droughty here. Just having enough water to take care of basic needs, I started to stress out about it. Pink slip should be flying, said Lady Smith. I agree 100%. I really do think whoever made the slope comment and decision needs to be fired. That's number one. Grandma Daisy, you look homeless. You thought that would upset me, didn't you? You don't know. You don't know, bro. PSD personnel security detail for a big target requires big guys with armor in order to effectively protect. It's math. Right. And so there were a couple of women there who, okay, I'm protecting him from like his waist down, or I'm protecting his kneecaps. There were some big guys. The one guy who had his hand up, I know someone was saying he's waving his hand around. I think he was thinking bullets might come down from above, and he was doing what he could, you know, having his arm up over Trump. But yeah, those women were not, neither one of them. Like the one, she did a good job. She was all bear hugging on him, so she's at least protecting him with whatever body armor she's got on whatever body part she was hanging on to. But like, he should have 6 or 7 6'5" guys, you know. It was the head of that made the slope comment, right? JC Fixer, that's what I heard. So she should be out on her butt. And then Bear made a really good point in his Patreon. There was no medical first aid stuff there at all. So I'm assuming Secret Service doesn't consider that their actual responsibility. Their responsibility is to protect him and move him out of the danger zone. Yeah, the protectors try to obscure the target. Watch the video of him arriving at the local hospital with no notice or call ahead. That was interesting. And that might have been his decision. It could have been based on the fact that he likes to just interact with normal folks, but it could also be if they call ahead, then the secondary team meets them at the hospital and shoots them up as they're, you know, getting out of the ambulance. But if you don't tell anybody and you just zip off somewhere, you know, one, the press may not be following you. It's not predictable behavior. You know, there's some reasons for that. Let's see what Scotty John has to say. his detail leading him into convention was all big guys, right? So I think this is just my opinion, and I'm just a housewife, y'all. A housewife with opinions and a little bit of experience. I do think corrections were made in the detail, because there was a whole lot more protection when he was at the convention. It is possible that they were just really incompetent and slow on the ball. I'm trying to think, during his presidency, there didn't seem to be any worrisome episodes, and maybe they just didn't realize how credible a threat there was. But definitely corrections were made, and that's a good thing, because he's going to need protection. He's going to need that protection now throughout the election. And I'm not going to say any more about that because I kind of addressed that in my video. I don't understand why the perimeter was so small. 200 meters? That's 600 feet. Wouldn't 812 be a normal standard for that setting? It's a really good question, Striker, and I'm not sure, because I didn't read about the venue, but we said earlier in this live stream that Secret Service sometimes have to secure a whole city. When people ride down the road, like when he showed up in Tulsa, you have to secure the entire route. So one rally is not too big an event for them to secure. I just wonder if they really didn't think anything was going to happen that early on in the process, or something like that. Not sure. Okay. Patterson is JFK, not JDK. Hospitals are prepped up in advance. It's standard operating procedure. I heard this I keep thinking Social Security. The Secret Service agents were replacement, like what they did to JFK. Also head of Social Security, was head of Pepsi security before. No military or executive protection detail experience. And that could be the reason. If she's hired and put in position because she was just, an executive who applied, she may not have understood the enormity of what she was doing, and just didn't do a good job telling her people what to do. This detail, okay, so we addressed that. And I wanted to point something else out. Well, maybe. I had to walk away for a while, but now I'm back. The RNC was very cringe. I'm open-minded, but that was off. I liked Sarah Huckabee's speech and Vivek's speech. His was more rousing. Hers was very matter-of-fact, but I liked her as speaker for him when she used to do the press stuff, because she was very on point and very factual. And I think she did a really good job. Good afternoon. How are you? God loves you and you are highly favored. Well, good Lord willing. There had to be an advanced team at the hospital with such a high-profile target. Even a low-level security detail target such as Blackwater would have had a plan for medical evacuation. Protective Service 101. I'm talking about, like, did they not have someone have a first aid kit in the vehicle where they treated it like a farmer's market. Any doofus can't make 140 yards on an elevated position in the prone. Even this cross-eyed guy only missed by a quarter inch. There's no legitimate excuse for how things went down. So, voice of experience, Palmetto, speaking there. If you're laying down prone at 140 yards and you've got a scoped rifle, and the target is not moving around, you're going to hit what you aim at if you're any good at shooting, which makes me think he wasn't as good as he thought, or the people who put him up there thought, or whatever. Because there's always nerves and there's always adrenaline. There's an adrenaline surge. Like, hunters know this for a fact, and they train themselves to be calm. But there's always an adrenaline surge when you're going to pull a trigger, whether you're shooting at a target or a deer or whatever. So that's, in my mindset, that's an argument for that guy not being a real professional, for him being just a doofus, and also an argument for there may have been more than one shooter, because a shooter who's a good shooter shooting 7 or 8 shots, in my opinion, is going to be more likely to hit what he's aiming at than less likely. That's just me. That's what happens when we take away meritocracy and replace it with equity. Moses put blood on the tip of the right ear to Aaron and his sons for an ordination. Just saying, Leviticus, it's true. God has his hands on Trump's shoulders. That's flies getting on my camera, y'all. That the light changing and everything. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The circumstances that I have to be in when I'm doing these live streams. I got the cat over here. She wanted to climb on me earlier. I got mosquitoes biting me, and I've got these flies obscuring my camera. It's ridiculous. I got to talk to my manager. I got to talk to my talent agent and get me better circumstances. You know what works M1 Garand? I'm not sure what your question is. Have I shot an M1 Garand? Absolutely. I love them. I know how to shoot them, yes. Wind up toy. Definitely not a sniper. Not even close, says Saws. Yeah. You pick up when I'm laying down there, brother. There's Bomba Buckeye. C103, interesting. The shooter used iron sight, not glass. If you're a good shooter, iron sight will work fine. Are you having egg issues with these heat issues? Not really, but that doesn't mean anything. You can have egg issues for lots of different reasons. It can be, you have to make sure they have enough water. I heard that corn raises their temperature, so if you're heavy at feeding corn, your chickens may not want to be eating it as much, and that may make them lay less, or we're getting real close to the time when they're going to start molting and possibly stop laying. Correct. Sniper question mark. Shooter at best. Correct. Yeah. I agree. I agree with what Palmetto said. I agree with what Sauce said. And I agree with what I said. All right, so the BS. What BS do you all think is going to be coming up pretty soon? Because I know people from MSNBC are going to be given a bunch of stupid opinions with no knowledge, and that is, I think some of that's intentional. I think some of it's ignorance. I think it is just blind attempts at swaying other stupid people. Ignorant people. Stupid means you're incapable of learning. Ignorant means you just haven't been taught yet. I think ignorant people can be easily swayed about any issue dealing with firearms simply because they are not educated well enough. And so I expect things like, I don't even know. Because you can't say, oh yeah, Thomas Crook really didn't get killed. He's walking around a beach in Florida. But I mean, some people could make those claims. Will be interesting to see how they replace Biden with Timothy failures to buy the excuse once again. For sure, no corn during the heat, says Travis Bull. Does anyone have suggestions on the Japanese beetles? Miss Cluck Cluck, yeah, I do. There's a couple of things I would suggest. One, you can go out and catch them yourself. A lot of times they are on your plants and they are busy mating or eating, and you can just knock them off into a bucket of water, or you can take a bug catching net and scoop them up and feed them to your birds. They would love to eat them. A lot of what I did to cut down on them in my area was I went out on my grapevines, because that's where they were eating, and squished them by hand. Another thing you can do is look up a milk jug Japanese beetle trap. My mom made one way back in the 70s. It's like a milk jug on the top that's upside down with the neck of it down with thing cut in the side of it so that the beetles can go in, and then in the bottom in a upside regular milk jug that's attached to the upside down one is like a sugar water mix, and so they fly in, they drop down into that and they drown. And she got a bunch of them using that trap, and I'm sure you'd be able to find that on Google. Too many failure. Okay. Nasturtiums, amaranths are good trap plants. Beetle traps with lemon balm scent, said Lady Smith. That was at 150 meters, 164 yards. Well, I'm not gonna say a whole lot about that, except that I'm not gonna predict, but I could make a shot like that on a target that's 6x8 or whatever, with a lying down prone with a rifle, iron sight or scope sight. And I'm just a housewife. But I don't know what you all want to do with that information. I'm just saying, hey, Grady, shalom. Guys, we got 9 minutes. 9 minutes before I shut this down. My battery's getting low, and I allotted an hour, and I've got more things to do. So if anybody has any other things they want to say about the BS they think is going to be coming, I think Patty Sanchez's question, who are they going to replace Biden with? I can't see him thinking Kamala is going to be a viable alternative. And so, step up to probably Gavin Newsom is someone they're going to try to trot out for some reason. Patty Sanchez, you are not just a housewife, sister. I'm certainly not a career woman. I taught my children. That's what I did. Minded my own business. No one is messing with me on a shooting range. I do know how to run one. Newsom is scary, crazy. We'll catch the reply. You've probably got more time behind a rifle than me. Housewife is a high title, says PP. Thank you. White cabbage moths are incoming. Get bug netting deployed ASAP. Yes. In our area, basically you need the screen made from metal around your plants when those things show up, because they are horrible. I'm good. Just come to show love and hear other thoughts. Love you all. Shalom. Newsom is scary, and what's been going on in California is scary. And so if he ran for the Dems, that's going to be pretty daggone wild. Thanks for the thoughts in the chats later on. I love that you can, hang on, do that. It gives the rest of us hope to be our best. Thank you, Mary. Isn't Newsom related to Pelosi? Yes, I think it's her like son-in-law or something. Grateful Preps, New Jersey. Hello from New York City. Ah, shalom, sister. Good to see you doing well, ma'am. Thank you. I think we'll learn more about Epstein in the future. Nephew. Oh, right. He's the nephew. I think we'll learn more about Epstein. Well, it's time for me to get off to work. Have a good night. All shalom. So nobody has any other BS ideas? Shalom, SK. Glad to have caught you live. Shalom all. Yep, we got like 4 minutes. So some people are even more targeting on firearms training and restrictions on the way. I hope you're wrong about that, Saw, but certainly that could be an outcome. We restructured our company because we saw the trends. Stay safe and train while it's still available, he says. Right? The whole clamping down on firearms after an attempted assassination is certainly a possibility and something for people to think about. I agree 100% with that. And you should always get training if you are not comfortable with firearms and self-defense. Thank you. And there are other places and like, I would just recommend that wherever you get training, get basic NRA training first. There's just some stuff that everyone teaches that the NRA started right after the Civil War about firearms and shooting and loading and all that. And that's a really good base before you get into going to specialty schools and training with other people with, you know, battle experience and all that other stuff. Gun tubers and televangelists about to turn on the people. That's interesting. I don't watch any televangelists. I probably ought to, just to see what's going on with them. Saw said he thinks more legislation on the pew-pews certainly could happen. It's way too hot for my brain outside. I drove 4 hours on Monday and I'm still feeling the heat. I never should have drove in the middle of the day. Not without air conditioning. Appleseed is where I have people start too. Good. Yeah. Yeah. You don't just want to jump into stuff. You need to get a base. Thank you. The bigger one is in the key of C. I feel like I'm in a Buddhist temple sometimes. Appleseed is great training. Hope you're doing well. Did the hurricane hit your area hard this month? No. Hurricanes are on coasts, and I'm not on a coast. Got hummingbirds at my feeder. They're hardly ever there. I don't know why they're there. Maybe they think I have to be sitting in this chair in order for them to go there. That's kind of weird. My AC has been broken for years, but the heat feels worse than normal. We drove around without AC for many years. And I grew up in humid climes, hot humid climes, so it doesn't freak me out terribly. But I did have, well, I won't go into that. Let's just say as you get older, sometimes it's not as easy to take. Hurricane path hit the Ozarks, my mistake. I'm not sure. You got me all, yeah. If you're talking about Cheryl, whatever, I think it went through Texas and then kind of petered out after Texas is a huge state. So where I live is just normal. I hope your crow friends have come around to say hello. So grateful, perhaps. Unfortunately, because of the health things we thought were going to happen to me, I gave away my ducks and geese. I gave them back to where I got them from. And so the orchard is now empty, and I'm not really going down there that often. I still hear them when they're flying around, and they do nest a little bit east of us, but I haven't had a lot of interactions with them right now. And, you know, who knows, maybe over winter we'll be able to kind of get back into it, because if I throw some food out down there during winter, they might appreciate it. Got a tractor to unload. Bless you, SK and family, and you too, brother, and be careful unloading that thing. All right, y'all, I gotta go. Shalom. Thank you for coming to the live stream, and keep your eyes out for that latest video. I would appreciate you guys watching it. And all the way to New Hampshire. And bless you all. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm doing good now, Grateful Preps. But beginning of the summer, I wasn't sure. So we were making plans in case, you know, I had an operation or whatever. Thank you for your time, Sis Kate. Shalom. Until next live stream, y'all. Shalom. See ya. Okay.